Marcus Chen stared at the rejection letter from Harvard Medical School, his dreams crumbling like autumn leaves. At 25, he had worked 3 jobs while maintaining a 3.9 GPA, only to be told his financial background made him not the right fit for their program. The irony wasn't lost on him. The very poverty that had driven his ambition to become a doctor was now the obstacle preventing him from achieving it. That evening, as he served coffee at the upscale cafe near the university, he noticed her again. Eleanor Whitmore sat in the corner booth, silver hair elegantly styled, reading medical journals with the intensity of someone half her age. She'd been coming in for weeks, always ordering the same thing, black coffee and a croissant, always leaving a generous tip. "Excuse me," she said as Marcus refilled her cup. Her voice carried the authority of someone accustomed to being heard. "You're pre-med, aren't you?" Marcus paused, surprised. "How did you? I've seen you studying anatomy textbooks during your breaks." "I'm Eleanor Whitmore. I founded 3 biotech companies before I retired." She gestured to the chair across from her. "Sit. Tell me about your plans." What followed was the most intense conversation of Marcus's life. Eleanor wasn't just wealthy, she was brilliant, asking probing questions about his research interests, challenging his assumptions about healthcare policy, and sharing insights from her decades in the medical industry. When he mentioned his rejection from Harvard, her eyes flashed with something he couldn't quite identify. Medical schools are run by committees of old men who mistake privilege for potential. She said sharply, "I've seen more talent wasted by their narrow vision than I care to count." Over the following weeks, Eleanor became a regular fixture in Marcus's life. She attended his undergraduate thesis defense, where he presented research on affordable diagnostic tools for rural communities. She asked pointed questions that impressed even his professors. Afterward, over dinner at an expensive restaurant Marcus could never afford, she made an unexpected proposition. "I have a proposal," Eleanor said, cutting straight to the point as always. "I need a companion for social events, someone intelligent who can hold meaningful conversations. In return, I'll fund your medical education completely, room, board, tuition, everything." Marcus nearly choked on his wine. "I can't possibly accept before you refuse. Consider this, I'm 71 years old. I've built an empire, but I have no family. No heirs who understand my vision. I need someone who shares my passion for medical innovation. This isn't charity, it's an investment." The arrangement she proposed was unconventional, but not inappropriate. Marcus would accompany her to galas, board meetings, and social functions. He would help manage her philanthropic medical foundation. In return, she would not only pay for his education, but also provide him with connections and opportunities that money alone couldn't buy. "There's one more thing," Eleanor said, her voice softer now. "I'm dying, Marcus. Pancreatic cancer. The doctors give me 2 years, maybe 3 if I'm lucky. I want to spend that time with someone who appreciates the beauty of medicine the way I do." Marcus felt the weight of her words settle over him. This wasn't just about money or education, it was about companionship in the face of mortality. 3 months later, they were married in a small ceremony at the courthouse. The media, predictably, had a field day. Headlines screamed about gold digging and scandal. Marcus's classmates whispered behind his back, but Eleanor seemed unfazed by the attention, her confidence unshakable. "Let them talk," she said as they drove away from their small wedding reception. "People always assume the worst when they can't understand something beyond their experience." Their marriage was unconventional but comfortable. Eleanor's penthouse apartment had a separate wing for Marcus, complete with a study overlooking the city. They shared meals and long conversations about medical ethics, innovation, and the future of healthcare. She introduced him to Nobel laureates and pharmaceutical executives. He helped her organize charity events and research grants for promising young scientists. But on their 7th day of marriage, Marcus discovered something that changed everything. He had woken early to study for his MCAT retake when he heard Eleanor's voice coming from her study. She was speaking quietly into her phone, but her words carried down the hallway. "Yes, the marriage certificate is filed. He has no idea about the real terms of the will. No, I haven't told him about the foundation shares. Let him focus on his studies for now." Marcus froze, foundation shares. He crept closer to her door, which stood slightly ajar. The cancer diagnosis was effective in convincing him, Eleanor continued. Dr. Peterson played his role perfectly. $5,000 well spent for that performance. The world tilted beneath Marcus's feet. She wasn't dying. The doctor who had delivered the devastating news with such gravity had he been acting. Once he completes medical school, he'll inherit everything, the foundation, the companies, all of it. But he needs to earn it first. This isn't about money. It's about finding someone worthy of carrying on my life's work. Marcus backed away from the door, his mind reeling. He had been manipulated, certainly, but not in the way he had assumed. Eleanor hadn't married him for companionship in her final days. She had married him because she believed in his potential to continue her legacy. The revelation should have made him angry, but instead, he found himself oddly impressed. Eleanor Whitmore, even in her 70s, was still 10 steps ahead of everyone around her. She had identified his potential, tested his character, and created a scenario where he would be motivated to excel not just for himself, but for someone he had grown to respect and care about. When he confronted her that evening, she didn't deny anything. "You heard my conversation with the lawyers," she said matter-of-factly, not even looking up from her medical journal. The cancer diagnosis was fake, completely fabricated. Though given my lifestyle, it's probably only a matter of time. She finally looked at him, her eyes sharp and unapologetic. "Are you angry?" Marcus considered the question seriously. "I should be. You manipulated me." "I did. I also opened doors for you that would have remained closed forever. I gave you opportunities that your merit alone, impressive as it is, would never have secured." Eleanor closed her journal and faced him fully. "The question is, what are you going to do with those opportunities?" Over the following weeks, Marcus learned the full extent of Eleanor's plan. She had been watching promising young scientists for years, looking for someone with both the intellect and the moral character to inherit her empire. His research on affordable diagnostics had caught her attention initially, but it was their conversations, his thoughtful questions, his ethical concerns, his genuine passion for helping people that had convinced her he was the right choice. The fake marriage, the manufactured urgency of her supposed illness, the financial pressure he had been under, all of it had been carefully orchestrated. To test his character under pressure, would he marry for money? Would he treat her with respect despite their age difference? Would he remain focused on his studies and his goals even when handed wealth and comfort? "You passed every test," Eleanor told him one evening as they reviewed applications for her foundation's next round of research grants. "You've been respectful, dedicated, and you've never once asked me for anything beyond our original agreement. You've treated our partnership as exactly that, a partnership." Marcus realized she was right, despite the initial shock of discovering her deception. He had grown to genuinely enjoy their collaboration. Eleanor's brilliant mind and vast experience complemented his youthful energy and fresh perspectives. Together, they had approved funding for groundbreaking research into affordable medical devices, rural healthcare initiatives, and innovative treatment protocols. "So what happens now?" Marcus asked. Eleanor smiled, the first truly warm smile he had seen from her. "Now you finish medical school with the best education money can buy and connections most students can only dream of. You complete your residency at whatever hospital you choose, and when you're ready, you take over the foundation and the companies, with my full confidence that you'll use them to change the world. And our marriage, that," Eleanor said with a laugh, "is entirely up to you. Though I should mention that the prenup you signed actually protects me, not you. Everything I own becomes yours regardless of what happens between us personally." Marcus shook his head in amazement. Even now, she was still surprising him that as the months passed, their relationship evolved from a transaction into something resembling a genuine friendship. Eleanor's sharp wit and vast knowledge made her an invaluable mentor, while Marcus's fresh perspective and genuine enthusiasm reinvigorated her passion for her work. The scandal that had initially surrounded their marriage gradually faded as people saw them working together, attending medical conferences, and funding innovative research. Marcus excelled in his studies, his motivation now driven not just by personal ambition, but by a desire to prove worthy of the trust Eleanor had placed in him.